At number 20 on my Week 3 NFL Power Rankings is the San Francisco 49ers. Maybe it's time I finally admit that this is a kind of okayly decent team. I mean, Alex Smith hasn't been horrible, at least not to the point that I thought he was going to be. Vernon Davis and Frank Gore have, of course, been, well, pretty good at least. The receiving core isn't great right now, but they should get a little bit better once Michael Crabtree comes back. Note how I said only a little bit. But they're at least winning games, alright? They would have won at Seattle even if Ted Ginn hadn't exploded. And they were about this close. They were about one Tony Romo comeback away from knocking off the Cowboys. So, you know, I think that maybe it's time that I finally stopped giving San Francisco a bunch of grief. At number 19 is the Oakland Raiders. Again, this is another team that I may need to stop giving them a bunch of crap about. I mean, right now they're in the top dozen in the NFL in total yards, which, show of hands if you saw that one coming. Yeah, that's what I thought. Darren McFadden is once again proving me wrong. Every year I keep saying that he's going to have a bust year, and, well, up until last year I was right. But now he might be breaking out, but I'm still not sold on McFadden just yet. I still think that Bush will probably end up having to fill in for him at some point once McFadden gets injured. But, hey, you gotta like the connection that Jason Campbell has picked up with Denarius Moore. It's at least getting them somewhere for once. But I'm still not the biggest fan of the Raiders. I like the Raiders. I think that they have a good team going forward. And if they didn't have Al Davis, I think that this team would be a playoff team right now. But I'm still a little bit reluctant to say that this is a team that can win the AFC West. At number 18 is the New York Giants. I would feel better about this team if they weren't so freaking injured, okay? Like, every week they lose somebody big. Even though they're saying that OCU Manura is going to be back, they're still going to be without Justin Tuck. They're still going to be without Prince Amukamara. They're still going to be without a ton of their other defensive players who have been put on IR. I just don't like where this team is at right now. And now it's starting to spill over onto the offense. With Mario Manningham and Dominic Hickson hurt. Hickson done for the year, I think it was. Yeah, done for the year. This is just not good, okay? And if this keeps up, I'm really going to start thinking that the Giants are going to lose games in bunches. They're not in a good place right now. The Redskins are showing us that they're not totally disastrous. The Cowboys are starting to come back, and the Eagles are, well, they're the Eagles. So, where does that leave the Giants? Not good. At number 17 is the Arizona Cardinals. I like where the Cards are going right now. Kevin Kolb is leading these guys in the right direction. Beanie Wells is, well, better than usual. I gotta say that. And Larry Fitzgerald is, well, he's Larry Fitzgerald. What do you want? Let's not forget about Early Doucette and Andre Roberts. They're contributing nicely to this team. And how about a shout out to Jeff King? Who saw him coming? He's leading the Cards in receiving touchdowns right now. Not too shabby. And he's second on the team in yards per reception. Nicely done, Mr. King. They got Seattle this week, which I think is a very winnable matchup, and one that's going to fully utilize Kevin Kolb, Fitzgerald, and at least one other member of the Cards receiving corps. If you want my opinion on which one, I have to say it might be Doucette again. I'm not 100% sure, but that's just my gut feeling on that one. Either way, this looks like a team that could very well win the NFC West. At number 16 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last week against Minnesota, we got to see what Tampa Bay really is. A team that loves to play from behind, come back, and kick other teams in the face when they aren't expecting it. That's what they did last year. That's what made them one of the most exciting teams in the league last year. And that's why Josh Freeman is one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league right now. He's a great quarterback who can come from behind and win games in bunches. That's pretty much his specialty. LeGarrette Blount is doing pretty good this year. He's giving us touchdowns, and that's really all we can ask for out of him. But if you're an owner of Mike Williams, like I am, you are pulling your hair out about him. He is getting outplayed by people like Aurelius Ben, Desmond Briscoe, and Preston freaking Parker! Preston Parker! That's another guy that almost none of us have heard of. He's like right up there in that same boat as, what's-his-face from Seattle, Doug Baldwin. I mean, come on, Mike! You're the best receiver on that team. Start proving it! I know I sound like that guy from the NASCAR commercial who keeps telling Clint Boyer, Clint, you gotta stay out another lap, but still! At number 15 on my power rankings are the 2-0 Washington Redskins, and just saying those words makes me want to puke up my lungs. Why are these guys winning? I just don't get it! Why are they winning with Rex freaking Grossman? And better question, or follow-up question, I should say. Why is it that when Bears quarterbacks leave Chicago, they start doing better for the new team that they are with? I mean, Kyle Orton did this pretty much same thing last year, and now Rex Grossman's doing it. It boggles the mind. Oh, come on. Well, I guess what's happening is Tim Hightower is doing good. Roy Helu, I think, is about to break out any day now. Fred Davis is leading the team in receptions, yards, and touchdowns, or is in at least a tie for those stats, but wow. I honestly didn't see this coming. I thought that this team would be in the running for the Andrew Luck contest, but I think that these guys might actually be in the running to win the NFC East, and that freaking sickens me. At number 14 on this list is the San Diego Chargers. Who would have thought that the reason that the Chargers are doing as well as they are right now wouldn't have been because of Ryan Matthews, but actually because of Mike Tolbert? Oh, would you look at that? Yes, I was almost certain that Mike Tolbert would be doing way better than Ryan Matthews at this point in this season. Tolbert is just a much better, more complete back than Ryan Matthews is. And he may not be leading them in the rushing category, but in the receiving category, he's actually leading the team in receptions. So, yeah, nicely done, Mike. I think that by the end of the season, Mike Tolbert will be the leading receiver, or the leading rusher, along with one of the better receivers on the team for the Chargers. They have an easily winnable matchup this week against the KC Chiefs, so I think that this is going to be a game where Mike Tolbert gets to demonstrate why he's the best back in San Diego. At number 13 on the list is the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, Tony Romo, you finally impressed me with that little performance you had against San Francisco. Well done. He played with a punctured lung and a couple of broken ribs, and he still managed to come back and beat the 49ers. Nice. Well done. Unfortunately, at this point, I am worried that I've put the Cowboys up a little bit too high, because now they all look pretty hurt right at the moment. Romo played admirably while he was injured, but it's still not 100% whether or not he's going to go next week. Felix Jones is hurt, which means that I get to get all smug about the fact that I knew that Felix Jones wasn't going to be as big as everybody said he was going to be, and why I was smart to draft DeMarco Murray. And also, Miles Austin might be hurt too, and he's right now their team's best receiver, far and away. Alright, he's already caught 4 touchdowns this season. There's really not much else. Well, I'll take that back. There is a little bit behind him, but right now the team has no real number 3 receiver, which means now if Miles Austin's hurt, they're going to have no real number 2 receiver, other than if you want to count Jason Witten, but I'm saying wide receiver here. But yeah, it might be tough if they lose Austin, and it will be even worse if they lose Felix Jones. But I don't think that they're going to lose Romo. They should be good there. At number 12 on this list is the Chicago Bears. I really wish I could put them higher, but the shellacking that the Saints gave them this week just knocked them out of the top 10 and almost out of the top dozen. This is a team that really needs more consistency at wide receiver. Okay, Matt Forte is dominating the receiving stats. 15 receptions, 207 yards, and 1 touchdown right now. That is better than the next two receivers on that list combined, Johnny Knox and Devin Hester. This is just a team that is starting to show its weaknesses, and now that they might be without Gabe Karimi for a while, it might get even worse. So, as a Bears fan, I'm really worried about where they are right now and what they need to do to get better, and they need to get better quickly at all of their weaknesses, especially now with Karimi gone at right tackle. And finally, the last one for this video at number 11 is the Buffalo Bills. Everyone wants to keep talking about the passing game, and yes, I will admit the passing game is going outstanding right now. Ryan Fitzpatrick is making all of his receivers look like people that really shouldn't have been drafted in the 7th round. I mean, both David Nelson and Stevie Johnson were both 7th round picks, and they're the two leading receivers right now, with 14 for 149 and a touchdown for Nelson, 12 for 162 and 2 touchdowns for Stevie Johnson. And I don't know exactly where Scott Chandler was drafted, but I don't think that it was very high up. And right now he has 7 receptions for 79 and 3 touchdowns. So, yeah, he's really starting to spread the wealth around, and it's going well. But something that not a lot of people are talking about with the Bills, they're leading the league in rushing. Yes, Fred Jackson, C.J. Spiller, they're kicking some butt right now, especially Jackson, who I believe is leading the league in yards individually with 229 yards and 2 touchdowns through 2 games. This is a team that I think could surprise a few people and make an AFC East give the AFC East 3 teams in the playoffs, along with the Patriots and the Jets, which we'll find in the next video. This is a good team. I like where they're going. Let's just see if they can keep it up, especially on a tough weekend when they have to face the Patriots. Okay, in the next video, I'm going to have my top 10 teams. See you guys then.